What is up, guys? My name is Mark Santamaria. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the RC vlog. Woo! I just got back from a week-long vacation in Colorado, and I really miss RC big time. I planned on bringing the boys' slashes. The boys got some slashes for Christmas. I was gonna bring my slash. I was planning on bringing all that up to Colorado, but there just wasn't enough room in the car, so we didn't get to bring them. But I'm finishing it. It's gonna be done today. My EB48, it was pretty much, I mean, I was in the final stages. That little time lapse you had at the beginning of the video is me cleaning up, putting the wing on. Everything is already mounted up. I had a lot of questions on where to mount the switch. So let me show you guys what I did with the switch mounting situation. So, the ESC I'm running is the Hobbywing XRA, I believe. It's the big A-scale Hobbywing ESC. And the problem with the ESC is the switch is a 4-wire switch. So I know what a lot of guys, I couldn't find a place to mount the switch, and everyone was like, well, just solder the switch together, you know, do a switch bypass. So just so you guys know, I used to run a switch bypass, and the cleanest way to do a switch bypass that I've seen is to actually cut your switch connectors and put servo connectors on each side. That way you can connect the switch back later. And then whenever you're not using a switch, I used to use a bind plug, like an old Spectrum bind plug, that would make the switch always on. So basically the switch was always on unless I needed the switch, or as soon as I plugged in the battery, the ESC was always on. Unless I needed the switch, I could unplug the bind connector, put in my switch, and then use the switch. It was just like this. The problem is on this new Hobbywing ESC, the switch has it's 4 wires. So most switches have 3 wires. You have a positive, a negative, and then a signal. Well, on the new Hobbywing, it's 4 wires. So I didn't know what to do. It wasn't long enough to mount it on the right side of the car, and there was no room. You guys are going to see where my switch is, but there was no room over here. Someone said to mount it on top of the radio box. I tried that, and that would have worked, but then the switch hits the top of the body, or the inside of the body, and then it could definitely switch your car off. Some people are putting it like just right around in this area, but it's really tight. I don't want that to be too close to my gears. So what I did was I ended up cutting the wire and extending the wire and putting it behind my battery, which it's way cleaner here. A lot of people said to run it under your motor. Running under your motor will work, but you have to make sure you protect it really well, because what happens when you run on the motor is if you chassis slap or your car flexes, it will actually wear that wire down, and it can actually cut that wire where your car will turn off. So what I did was I extended the wire and ran it behind the battery, and it's much cleaner that way. And back to why I didn't do a switch bypass. It's 4 wires, not 3. So I thought, okay, well, it's 4 wires. I'll just use 2 servo connectors and then connect it that way. Well, there's 2 reds, a white, and a black. So my thought was it's probably going to be either red and black together or white and black together. So I looked up on the internet which one was the actual live wire, and I think it was the outside red, and I touched it to I believe I touched it to the black and white, or the red and white, and nothing happened. And then I touched it to the black and red, and it was it was like freaking 4th of July in here. It was sparking and arcing and everything. I mean, it ended up burning the wire up. So red and black don't work. I couldn't get it to work. So I was like, okay, well, if red and the other colors don't work, I assumed that the 2 reds were both hot wires. I couldn't get it to work. So I ended up extending the wire. But after I extended the wire, I had someone comment on one of my Facebook posts about, I posted on Facebook on where I should mount the switch. And someone said if you connect the 2 reds, then that's like a switch bypass. So if the situation, there's no reason why it shouldn't work. If this situation doesn't work, where I extended the wire and moved it to the back behind the battery, then I probably will do a switch bypass. And apparently, it's connecting the 2 red wires together will turn it on. So that was the big hiccup, or the big hang up. I also had a blown motor bearing, which I quickly got one of those. I had a lot of people comment on why I'm running the old Gen 1 motors. Well, I'm one of those guys who, whenever I find something that I really like and I know will work, I buy several of them. So when the Gen 1s came out, I bought 2 Gen 1s, and The first Gen 1, like recently, when I say recently, probably middle of last season, took a crap, and it was the rotor just exploded. I could put a new rotor in it and rebuild the motor. I haven't done that yet. So instead, I just ran my other Gen 1. So the reason why I have a Gen 1 and not a Gen 2, I actually have a Gen 2, just I'm not running it, is this is still like brand new. I had a bad bearing in it, but you know, those kind of things happen. So I'm still running the old Gen 1 Tekno T8 motor. And I'm obviously I'm going to be happy with it. I know what it's capable of. I know what to expect. So, whew, that was a lot of talking. Anyways, I'm just so excited about being back at home, working on cars again. I'm going to put this thing on the setup station. Before I put it on the setup station, if you guys never use a setup station, this will be fun to watch. Before I put it on the setup station, I'm going to set the ride height. You could probably set the ride height on the setup station, but I like to put actual wheels on it. And you typically want to set your ride height before you put on setup station, because depending on how much your suspension is compressed, it will adjust your camber and toe. So you want the ride height to be exactly where you want the ride height whenever you set your camber and toe. And that's really what I'm using the setup station for. So, whew, I'm long-winded today. I'm so excited to be back. Oh, this is not the paint job I'm going to run in 2019. This is actually the old Tekno. I think the last Tekno I ran was the EB48. Maybe the 48.3, maybe in a 2. And this is the old body that came on those. These bodies will work. I just had to cut out more for the steering. I guess the steering linkages are a little bit different on the .4, so I had to cut out a little bit on steering. But this was my old paint scheme. I think this is like the coolest paint scheme ever. Just the silver, gray, white, dark gray, just the different grays and silver and chrome. I thought this was cool, but the problem with this body is when you're out there driving, it's just a white body. Like, people will be like, oh, the white car. And then, for you guys who know, you guys have been racing for a long time, whenever people build cars really quick, they'll usually paint it white, their body white, orange, or yellow. And that's because you can see the car better, and it matches with wheels, things like that. So, there were a few races with this body where there were like 4 white cars on the track, and I wanted something more distinct, so I changed the body paint scheme. This was my old one, still works, so I'm going to use this for practice. I got Mr. Juan Castro from JC Designs. I got him paint me some new bodies, so those will be here soon. And I just got to put this thing on setup station. Then I wanted to race today. Today was actually club race day, but it's New Year's Day, and they're not racing today, so I'll probably have to wait until Saturday. I'll spend all day Saturday getting it set up, and then I'll do a little bit of club racing. And then I'll start racing every Tuesday at Indy RC World, since that's my home track. Awesome track. I'll start racing every Tuesday until I'm super confident, which I don't think it's going to take long for me to get super confident in this car. I mean, I already know what to expect this car. Honestly, I bet you I could have built this car without the owner's manual, and I'm really glad to be back with Tekno. Another thing that announced yesterday is Tekno signed Jared Tebow. That was probably the best sign for us at this point. Jared is all about making RC fun again. He's super approachable. It couldn't have been a better sign-on for Tekno than Jared Tebow. So, big congrats to him. Congrats to Tekno. I'm excited to have him as one of my teammates. And what else we got? Lutz, he went to Agama. I want to go on the record, and if you've been watching my videos, I guessed the top 5 at Worlds perfectly. And I knew exactly where Lutz was going before he actually went. And I promise I did not get a tip on where he was going. I did not know. And I was actually frustrated with people not telling me, because some people knew, and people wouldn't tell me where he went, where he was going to go. I just had a strong feeling that's where he was going to go. But Lutz will be doing really well with that car. It's going to be cool to see that Agama take off with Lutz. Ryan Lutz. So, all right. So I'm going to set this aside for a second. I got to go get the battery. Whenever you do all this, you got to make sure that your car is going to be at the weight that it's going to be at, so the suspension will be compressed the way it needs to be. I'm going to move this video over into the kitchen because I like to do the setup station in the kitchen because my center island is really big and it's super flat. So whenever you do the setup station, you definitely want it to be flat. So I'm ready, guys. there you have it, guys. She's all done. So before I put her on the setup station, I actually set my droop first. So I set my droop before I put her on the setup station. I then set my ride height, and then I check my toe, which the toe is really what you get to measure really well with the setup station. That's pretty much the main reason why I bought it, because you can do the other stuff without a setup station, but the toe gauge on the setup station is so precise, it's just freaking awesome. So I will admit that although it's like perfect on the setup station, all it does, I'm going to be changing them a lot on the track anyways, but all it really does is it gives me confidence that the first time I put it on the track, it's going to go straight. It's going to be a good starting place for whenever I start setting the tune in. So you saw me leave a couple times and come back. I was getting a battery, making sure that it was on. You want your car on whenever you do it because you want your steering to be centered. So what I do is I center my steering and then I adjust my steering linkages to make sure that the toe is perfect. And I also left a couple times because I was checking the base setup. So I'm going with basically the base box setup. I think that it's going to be pretty close to accurate for my local track, which is NDRC World's indoor. A lot of grip, smooth track. So I think it's going to be a really good base setup for that track. But I think we're ready. I mean, I'm super excited. I was going to say something else and I forgot. It's getting late. And you know me, guys. Whenever it starts getting late, I start getting a little hazy. But she's ready. I plan on racing her this Saturday for a little bit of club racing, getting her dialed in. And I don't think that, honestly, if I compare my setups before, I might have to go a little bit lighter in diff fluid, but we'll see how it is at first. I mean, I don't want to change it up. The only thing that I did different that's not stock are my shock shafts, but it's completely box stock. So thanks for watching, guys. If you like this video, smash that like button, subscribe to my channel, turn on the notification bell, and you guys will see me next time. Later, guys.